Welcome back to another episode of Cobra Kai Companion. I'm Peter. You guys, here we are kicking off with the interviews from part two of the final season. Returning is Daniel J. Kim. You know him as Yoon. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Good to see you again, Peter. Great to be here.
Yes, yes. Good to see you too. I put on the shirt, did my hair a little bit. I heard there's an
Dude,
opening,
I love it. Come on, Cobra Kai.
right?
Let's go.
Yes, I
Cobra
heard there's an
Kai.
opening. Can I? Is this hair good enough?
Oh, yeah? Dude, for a second, I was like, Brandon, is that you? It got me
You
confused
have
for a
some
second.
facial, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get to that stuff, man, for sure. So, the first time we spoke, it was before the premiere, and so I wasn't able to ask you back then. So I'd like to ask you now, what was that experience like, the premiere, and also after the drop of the first batch, what was the fan reception like, or even like friends and family?
I mean, dude, you and I have been talking. We've been talking on, DMs and just hanging out on the side. It's just, it's been crazy. It's been amazing. Like ever since that premiere happened, and I was so honored to just be invited. And we got to see like the first two episodes of the first part. It was like the energy was just infectious, and seeing the whole wave of fans who had all come out to support and to see it and get an early sneak peek. It's been really, really sweet, man. The fan support has been so huge, and everyone has loved and poured out so much like positive vibes and like thanks and excitement and hype over Korean Cobra Kai, over Yoon. And so I'm really, really grateful. The fans are awesome, and it's been a great, great time.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of see all of you guys' stories and live vicariously through you guys. And the last time we spoke, you mentioned that you hadn't met Joe Suh, who plays Kyler. And at the premiere, there's like I think there's a picture of maybe you, Brendan, Joe, and Nate, I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah, and Bert,
Okay,
yeah,
Owen.
yeah, which is awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was so sick. Being able to meet everybody, and yeah, meeting Joe in person was so cool. It was so wild. The premiere, getting to meet all these people who I hadn't gotten to work with on set yet, and so it was so phenomenal to see all the people in the valley who were hanging out at the premiere. So that was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Man, with part two, I don't even know where to start, but maybe we'll just kind of get into it because you guys filmed. Um, I'll just leave part three out of it, I because we know nothing about it. But I'm at the very least, parts one and two were filmed like all together, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We filmed everything in part one actually was filmed in varying parts of like earlier in the year and even
Mm.
last year in 2023 before the strike. So there was a lot of moving parts with that. But Brandon and I, when we were filming our sections of the first part, we were there in January in Atlanta. But then we came back for episode six, episode seven. We came back around mid-February or a little like, yeah, mid/late February to start filming again. And we just kind of did the whole stretch, February through April. And that was all Sekai Taikai part two and even a little bit of part three as well. So it was pretty crazy seeing like this marathon run of filming.
Yeah, yeah, it's wild because, so we talked a little bit about it in your first interview. I got to be on set for episode six, at
Yeah,
the
man, that was fun.
aquarium, and not gonna lie, I know that I was at what do they call it, Video Village, or where the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
monitors are?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
behind the
yeah.
monitors. Yeah, Video
So
Village.
that's where I was, and I know where it was staged, but there was still a part of me who was like, "Can you see me back there? Like, is there any like just chance?" But I was surprised for as long as I stayed and for what I saw and the finished product. I was so surprised, kind of how little it was. Like just minutes, right?
Yeah, I
And
know. It comes up for just a little small tiny segment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's kind of crazy. And to your knowledge, was that also filmed in sequence? That part?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of what we did, I think with the exception of the fights, I'm trying to remember because it was a whirlwind shoot. It
Right.
was like so much happened. I'm pretty sure we filmed pretty much everything in episode six and episode seven. And six is where the
Mm.
aquarium comes out in sequence. And we definitely shot each episode. We didn't like really jump back and forth between episodes. With the exception of 9 and 10. 9 and 10 came at the very end because we have all the crazy fights in it. So, yeah, we ended up shooting episode six and seven and eight kind of all in sequence.
Got it. Because I feel like what I saw was mostly Brandon's lines, and as I was leaving, I feel you and Tanner, or no, you and Jacob were kind of going over your blocking maybe because I
Yeah.
have some footage of you guys, well, confrontation, right? A little bit of that.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't remember when the dialogue is placed in the scene, but as I was leaving, I overheard like Ori, being on your guys' team, and that's when I was like, oh, what? And so
Yeah, it's wild to
um,
see what makes the final cut, what doesn't, you
yeah,
know? But I mean, for us, it's like, hey, if it tells the story well and clearly it did, then you're just stoked as an actor, as a viewer, as a storyteller, you know? So yeah, I think that what they were able to cram in with how much crazy stuff is in this back half, it's really impressive.
yeah, it really is. And I'm assuming you saw the second batch.
So I actually haven't gotten any screeners yet, but
Okay,
I know what's in there. I've heard
right.
hearsay from other people. I've been trying to save it until the day it drops, and I know when this releases, it'll be after the 15th. But yeah, I'm actually saving it to do a little watch party with some fam and some friends, which
Okay.
I'm really
Okay,
excited
that's
for.
awesome. That's awesome. Okay, well, let's kind of start from early on when Team Korea meets Team USA in the lobby of it's a hotel, right? That's kind of
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
that
in the
big old
lobby.
yeah. So
Yeah.
can you talk about like filming that day, and just what it was like?
Yeah, that was super fun, man. I think that was one of our first days back in Atlanta. Because we filmed Atlanta for Barcelona for some sections of that. And I remember it was like kind of, a little nerve-wracking because we've been on set before. We felt comfortable, and Ralph had done an amazing job of introducing us back in episode 3. But it was the first time we were really meeting the cast, first time we were meeting Sholo and Tanner and
Mm.
Mary and, all of Miyagi-Do, like all in that lobby. So it was kind of the first time that we were getting the head-to-head of both of our dojos. And so being able to kind of come in as the badasses, all in form with the sick jackets that Frank made and just kind of, walk past them, bumping shoulders and giving mean mugs. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, a great introduction, and it's kind of funny because like you watch the end of 605, and like Yoon is absent, Alex's character is absent, and
Hmm.
then we see like the beginning of 606, and like six members of Team Korea is all right there. So maybe you guys were t taking a little potty break, as Tori
Yeah, that's
as
right.
Tori.
Yun was like, he's like, hey guys, I gotta go to the restroom real quick.
Yeah,
I'll be right back. Yeah, he's like,
yeah,
guys, can I take 5? Yeah, man, it's so funny seeing like, the fans kind of react to like, oh, who's gonna be on the team and have all this like speculation going. And then for me to come in and Alex to come in and be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. There are other Korean students. So
right.
yeah.
Yep. They wanted to focus on Tori, so I understand. So. In general, for part two, where do you think Yoon's headspace is in terms of being second in command to Kwon in a sense? His eyes healed, and he doesn't throw any looks at Kwon like Miguel does to Robbie. And I know you haven't like really seen some of those yet, but maybe you saw while like Sholo and Tanner would film or something. But there's very like Miguel is very much like I should be wearing that headband. I don't think we get that from Yoon at all, but we talked about how Yoon is like a really good soldier, and he just like is kind of like what is expected of him he will do. Is he still that way, or do you think there's a little bit of like like maybe I should still
I
be
think there's a
captain?
little bit under the surface. Might not. I think I'm pretty sure I gave a couple, while we were on set, whether they, made the edit or not. But I think, one of the big things about Yoon is, he's a team player. Like before, yes, of course, he's got a chip on his shoulder, seeing like, his friend and his rival take him out, give him a black eye. Like that's not something that you brush off easily. But I think coming into the tournament is like you're no longer just one member of a team, or one member of this group, right? And every individual stands out on their own. You're a member of Team Korea,
Mm.
representing Korea, And so, hearing like how does he feel being second in command? Probably not great. He feels like that should be me, but at the same time, he's going to make sure that Korea gets to victory. That's his goal. That's what he wanted. Whether or not that happens or not, things get real messy, real interesting towards the latter part of part 2. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it really does. Can you talk about the fight where and they released this too, introducing the Iron Dragons where Quan and Yoon go high and low against Axel. Can you talk about working with Patrick on that fight sequence and anything you remember from that day?
Dude, I love Patrick. Patrick's so good. We actually just got coffee the other day, like a week or two ago. He's so great and also such a great guy to work with. And on top of that, he's so massive. The guy's so big, like on camera, off camera. So when you see him like lift up Yoon and kind of body Quan, you're like, well, the guy's huge. He's like 6'3", six
Mhm.
four. It's like no wonder he's taking on these guys. But yeah, dude, come on, Brandon. Quan, I gave you the captain's headband, and then you get me immediately murked like that. Come on, dude. You're supposed to be my captain. I gave you that badge
Right.
for what?
Yeah.
No, no, no. I think it's just it was really, really fun. It's kind of crazy to be like to have Cobra Kai set up as the main antagonist and have the rug immediately pulled out from under both
Yeah.
teams to be like, whoa, there's a bigger fish. And
Yeah.
I think that's really cool and a testament to how well conceived Josh, and Hayden kind of built this season to be in all the antagonists. So it's really fun to have the Iron Dragons as a third dark horse wild kind of mix out of the three of them.
Right. And from what we kind of like learn about the Iron Dragons, like they're not necessarily a dark horse because I guess they're like kind of repeat champions or something. And
Mm-mm.
then even since Wolf himself, he has a history also with the tournament. I think I read somewhere that he's also a three-time Sekai Tekai champion. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, well, dark horse for the viewer. Like we don't
for sure.
expect it, you know what I mean?
Right,
Because we're
right. We
like,
don't
oh,
know.
all we got is Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai, but it's nice to see them get established as, oh, these guys won the championships for a reason. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. One of my favorite moments where you literally like Yoon stumbles into the frame outside where like Sam and Axel are walking to be
Yep,
confronted
episode
by it.
8.
That I thought that was so funny because I got it immediately, right? Because we see Quan and then Yoon enters the frame stumbling. I'm like, oh, they've been
Hmm.
drinking. That's hilarious. You know, and then Cowie, who plays Min-seok, same thing, Just
Yep.
I don't what were your guys' directions for blocking?
Yeah, we were playing outside of the bar scene, right, where Kwan's putting his arm around Tori and all that nonsense that goes on in there. Yeah, that was a really fun couple days of filming. Jen, our director, who's amazing. She's such an incredible comedy director and such a great director. And we were filming out in the pouring rain, so they literally had like these like tent slats like
Mm.
prepared for us so that the rain wouldn't get on us as we were fighting and working. But yeah, she was really kind in that she gave us a lot of collaborative space to just make just decisions and make choices that made sense. And I remember I threw a couple suggestions with her and saw what she thought, and I was like, you know what? Like, you would be really fun if he was just real smashed after a couple of drinks in. And so I just stumbled in, and he's the one who initiates that whole fight, right? He's the
Right.
one who throws that first kick after Axel does this thing. So for
Yeah.
me, it was really fun to just kind of play that up and to see how Yoon might have changed from like maybe even a good guy in a ruthless dojo to now like being under Kreese's, Cobra Kai mentality. So he's striking first.
Striking first. Absolutely. That was the first thing that came to my mind when he looks down, strikes first. And then you just mentioning how, like Yoon's hammered. I'm like, oh, that's that's really cool because you're right. He walks into the frame, been drinking, but he still has the awareness that this guy, he's balling up his fist, like he's about to throw
Hmm.
down. So this guy's bigger than me. I need to strike first. Right?
Yep.
Like, yeah, there's a line that Dimitri says, like it's kind of like prison where you go in and like knock down the first big guy you see.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly. Prison rules. Yeah.
yeah, right. That was really, really cool. Um, there's this one group event. Oh, I don't know. I'll just call it a group event.
Yeah.
But it's the tagging in and out,
Oh,
right?
the tagging fight in
Yeah,
609.
yeah.
Dude,
Can can
that was my
can you?
favorite fight. It's so good.
Well,
It's
yeah. I
so
mean,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. The payoff, and Yoon being in the center of it all, I thought
Yeah,
it looked
man.
visually really, really cool. So, can you talk about like when you guys first learned that you're going to be doing the sequence and anything that you can help explain it a little bit because my buddy who screened it with me and we did the preview, he was not a fan of that event because he's like 30
Oh.
seconds, like nobody gets tired and he was just really critical and nitpicking. I'm like, dude, but look at what happens at the end with Yoon. Like that's kick ass, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, 30 seconds in the ring with like, three guys, that get a little hairy quick. I love how critical your friend is like. It's like I love how people just like engage with this show so deeply. That
Hmm.
makes me laugh. It makes me smile. Yeah, dude, that part of 609. So first of all, that fight is my favorite, actually, not only because of my part, but actually more so because that freaking ending with like the blood sport, so like side flying kicks with Brandon and
Yeah.
with Tanner coming in, like it looks so amazing. And it was just like jaw dropping on the day when it happened. So yeah, for me, I'm like, gosh, I'm such a fan of that moment. But for me, it's like that triple tag team was crazy because we have like the master board. They have like a
Mm.
whiteboard where all the stunt guys, they have like everything listed out. Tony, Ken, Don, they're freaking geniuses. They've been mapping this thing out, right? And like leading us so well. And it was just like lines and lines of beats. And so I remember when we went in, we were like, dude, this is gonna be a daunting task. But shout out to my stunt double, David EJ, who's the guy who trained me for that fight, and to all of the stunt doubles who are helping out, all the stunt guys who were coming in and like giving it their all. They were spending so much time on the mat helping us prepare for those segments. And so by the time that we got in, and it was me and Jacob and Johnny and Dallas, and they're, flipping over each other, and we're executing this choreography. Like you'd be surprised at how winded you get after even just one take. It's pretty
Mm.
crazy. So yeah, to your friend, I'd say, hey man, I'd like to see you step into the ring. Let's see how long we go.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We'll see. He's kind of we called when we were teenagers, we called him the 5 foot assassin. He's shorter. Yeah,
I love that
shorter than
five
the
foot
rest of us.
assassin. That's a great nickname.
Yeah. Gosh, man, I don't even know where to go. Oh, were you able to when you weren't filming, what were some of the sequences that you got to did you visit and watch any of the other sequences being filmed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I try to visit on some of my off days. Yeah, there's a good portion. I watched portions of 608 because I really wanted to see some of like Yuji's scenes and see some of them. I didn't catch all of them. I was able to catch like some stuff at the bar, and I missed his moment with Kim Daeun,
Oh, okay.
which I love. I thought is so funny. But I did end up seeing like on the days when we were doing 9 and 10, I stayed for the fights that weren't like our fights. So,
Mm,
we got to see, I think, Miyagi-Do versus Brazil, right? The Redeemers. Um,
yes.
and then we got to see like the Barcelona captain fight versus Brandon, and like some of those fights that were like those interstitial fights that I wasn't a part of. I just wanted to go down and see. I saw a lot of Iron Dragon stuff. So
Hmm.
seeing Reina work, seeing Patrick work was so awesome. And I love the two of them. We're all friends. And so yeah, we still
Yeah,
hang out. We still talk about it to this day.
that's awesome. Now, part two of so this next batch, it brought back some legacy characters, and so did you get a chance to meet any of them? I already know one legacy character actor that you got to meet, Sensei Williams. So shout outs to him. But yeah, Thomasine Griffith,
Yep, yep.
returns in one of the episodes. But any interactions with them at all on set?
Yeah, Sensei Williams was great to talk to and to hang with. He was awesome. He was super super kind, and we had a fun day. We didn't share too many scenes, but I saw him all the time, like when we were either getting lunch or in between takes, and he was so so kind. Terry Silver, Thomas Ian Griffith, that guy is huge. He is so tall. I know everybody says it like all the time, but the guy is just so tall in person and so so kind. Like being able to see him and see him on the other side often because Cobra Kai and him were often on opposite sides of the ring. Didn't get to talk with him too much, but from every interaction that I had with him, he seemed like a really great guy. And come on, it's Terry Silver. That's pretty legendary to have like that as the back pocket villain reveal. And I know a lot of people expected it, but it's still great to see it pay off and
Yeah,
for it all kind of to drop in place.
right, right. Um, gosh, I don't know what else
Yeah, man.
because
I
there's so
mean,
many
hey,
things
we
that.
got that brawl. We got that
Oh,
like we
I want
had
to
the
save that.
platform
Yeah.
fight in
Oh
607,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
The victory between Yoon and the Tooth Fairy. You know that
Yeah.
that was funny. When Yoon picks up that tooth, it reminded me of Bloodsport, where the guy's like cleaning the platform and then like
Yeah.
puts it up into
That's right.
the
That's
gold
right.
tooth or whatever. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah. Could you
God.
talk about
Yeah.
the platform and the logistics of that?
Dude, I wish it was a gold tooth, man. I think that would have made it that much better. No, no, no. Yeah, that moment's so cool. So first of all, the platform, we were not there like 15 feet in the air because there's some legal things around making sure your actors are safe. But the stunt. stunt men and women who were going up and doing that, they did that for real. They were the ones who were elevated and did all of that fight and got kicked off and got kicked out into the stand. So they are amazing. So everything that you see from those like wide shots is all of our stunt doubles who are doing absolutely amazing work. Um, but for all of the like mediums and closes, they had me and Peyton, up there doing that choreo. And Peyton's so sweet and so badass. She's like doing all this choreography and selling the heck out of that backspinning hook kick that she takes out the girl's teeth with. So
Yeah.
cool. And from like a story perspective, that moment is when Cobra Kai accepts Tori as their captain.
Mm.
That's the moment where like, you know what, you and us, even though we haven't trained long, like you're a member of our fam now. We're a team, right? Which is so sweet. But on the other side of it, that was the day where I finally felt like as Daniel, that the Cobra Kai fam, cast, and crew, that I like finally felt like I belonged and they were bringing me in as like, hey man, you're family now and you're a member of this cast, this story, this crew. So it was kind of like a sweet mirror, art imitates life kind of moment for Tori and then for me, just Daniel Kim, which was so
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah. So Yoon's like him cheering him and feeling victorious. That was a little bit of you as well. Kind
Oh,
of
for sure,
kind of
man. Yeah,
yeah.
adrenaline spike and just going, with the
Yeah.
tooth up in the air. Yeah.
Right. Now, Ralph didn't, direct any of these episodes, but did you have any interactions off camera with him since he directed you guys' episode?
Oh my gosh, all the time. Ralph is the biggest, kindest supporter ever since 603. Like he would come up to Brandon and I in between takes, in between days, and he'd go, "You guys have to see the 603 fight. It turned out so well." He was so proud of it. And us and that felt like really I don't know, that felt like really I don't know, heavy, I guess like a real weight, a real I don't know, a
Surreal,
moment of yeah, real surreal, like a moment of like honor to be like wow, like we had hoped that we would do a great job with his episode and make him proud and to be able to actually do that and to have him be so ecstatic and so kind and supportive as he was like kind of a dream come true. So almost, all the time while we were doing our fights, we'd talk and he's like, that was so cool, that kick that you did, or I can't believe you guys are doing that. And to be able to see him, in there as well on the mat. I remember, gosh, if I could take a second and tangent, I remember meeting Ralph the first day in 603 and being like, wow, he seems so nice. I can't believe this is like, Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid, you know?
hmm
But for me, it was like there was an actor-director relationship there. And I didn't quite get the like nostalgia rose-tinted glasses just yet. But I remember the first day that we walked into the Sekai Taikai space and I saw Ralph there and he had the headband, the original Karate Kid headband, right? And the gi. And I looked at him and I felt chills all over my body. And I went, oh my God, that's the Karate Kid. That's Daniel LaRusso. And I'd met him before. We'd spent an entire 2 days shooting our episode. But for me, like I was starstruck when I stepped into the Sekai Taikai space and saw Ralph for the first time. It was so cool.
Yeah, yeah, just human character. Did you get to see any of the young Miyagi stuff?
I did not.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
wish I did. I heard that was really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Interviewed him. So if you want to
Oh,
hear about that,
oh,
yeah,
come
bro.
on.
Yeah, shout out to Brian Takahashi. So
Let's
um
go.
all right. So as we get ready to wrap up the big brawl at the end, before you talk the experience, can you try to help like the viewers if you can give any insight on the blocking because so what Quan gets stabbed, right? And
Yes.
there's
It,
all this stuff that's going on. Why do you have any idea why is it Daniel that is the one that's going to Quan and not like someone like a Sensei Kim or a Kreese or even Yoon?
mm. It's a great question. Um, I think like, one of the big things is, that brawl is such chaos. Like all of the, famous Cobra Kai brawls are, right? Our season
Yeah.
twos, right? Our season fives. But yeah, I think one of the big things about that is, that like kind of vacuum air gets sucked out of the room moment. I think what you don't see around camera, or you might, I haven't seen the edit,
Mhm.
but is Alicia as Kim Tae-in is right there, looking at him, right, taking a few steps forward. Yoon, I'm on the other side. I'm
Mhm.
right there looking at my friend. What you that's the invisible things that you can't see. What camera sees is Daniel LaRusso coming up and seeing this poor kid who's been wrapped up in all this nonsense. But you have all the officials, all the fighters, everyone coming up. It's still like, even though that moment is like freeze framed with Daniel, I kind of imagine it as a moment of like he's the one who got to the body first. But as soon as that moment ends, and maybe even after credits, like there's going to be commotion, paramedics coming in, their whole Korean team coming in. It'd be really cool if we'd had that moment. But I think for the way they honor Daniel's story and seeing his part in all this, I think it made a lot of sense.
Yeah. So you mentioned the 609 fight was your favorite. Just if you could just talk about the big brawl and kind of Yoon's POV since it cuts to so many different characters. What was going on
Oh
with Yoon?
man. Dude, so cool. I mean, that fight's awesome. Yeah, we got to fight with Tanner, which is so cool. Like I finally got like a real extended fight with Robbie, and yeah, we were rehearsing that fight. That was so fun. I remember I was like, I would love to have like a one-on-one with Robbie, but it was nice to be able to be like, okay, we have like a 2v1 our moment. Yeah, one of the coolest things about that fight is like it's just all organized chaos. Like some of us are like inventing, if we're in the background, like we're creating a couple beats on our own, we're doing stuff. It's just chaos all around. But I think the coolest part for me was I got to take that hit to the face when Robbie jumps up and does that kick right over across screen to Yoon and to Brandon. So that was really fun. That I got to be a part of that. Yeah, man, and it's just like legendary chaos out there. Seeing everybody fight, it's wild. You're seeing everybody. Doesn't matter if they're, one of the fighters on the background. Doesn't matter if they're Ralph, if they're, Johnny, if it's like who it is. Everybody's coming in. Everybody's fighting. It's wild.
It is so wild. I've been I've been kind of describing it as like, man, it's just brutal. With what happens with Gunther, and then you got Johnny and Sensei Wolf in the on the behind
Yeah.
the stage fighting.
Yep. Yep.
Now, and we'll kind of end it with this, but can you think of any fun outtakes? Like you shared some from part one where, Brandon kicks the board and the board goes right by your face, like
That's right. That's
any of
right.
that stuff this time around.
Outtakes. Gosh, I mean, for BTS, I mean, this time people were pretty locked in during part two, I think, because we knew how high the stakes were and how insane these fights were. The one thing that was fun though, less outtakes and more like they took us out, was we went to a little bar in Atlanta called Dark Horse, and they have underground karaoke there, where they do like this like punk pop like karaoke thing, and almost everybody in the cast went up and we did karaoke songs, and it was so fun. It was like an incredible night. Yeah.
Um, who had a song that was the biggest record scratch where everyone's like, didn't expect that song to come out of you?
Record scratch. I don't know, record scratch. I thought it was pretty iconic. My
Oh no,
my
not
favorite.
not in a bad way. Just kind
Yeah,
of like,
oh
like
yeah.
somebody belting a song that you did not expect that they would know.
Oh, dang. Well, I think that cake probably has to go to Brandon. Brandon and another one of our PAs who's amazing, Jimmy. They went up and they did Vanessa Carlton,
Oh,
1,000 miles,
yeah.
and they killed it. They
Nice.
had a great time. The whole crowd was rocking with them. That was pretty dope. But I think honorable mention to Jacob and Johnny because they did the Barbie song, and that was great. They did I'm Just Ken, and I was like, this is awesome.
That is awesome. Daniel, thank you again so much for your time. We got, I don't even know when part three is going to come out, but anyway, I would imagine you got some stuff that you're holding on to until the drop to post on social media. So if you want to give out where people can give you a follow if they don't already.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be crazy, man. The cliffhanger they left us. Whew, it's gonna be a long way till part three. But yeah, my name is Daniel J. Kim. You can find me on Instagram at Daniel_J_Kim. And yeah, man, it'll be crazy. Go see Cobra Kai Part 2 if you haven't already, and I'll see you hopefully around.